Barry Sommers.
Top 100.
Barry Sommers.
Top 100. He's got a voice that's really the bomb. He'll make a choice that'll aggravate Tom. I hate to spoil it, but when all's said and done, Merchant of Venus gonna be number one.
Barry Sommers.
Top 100.
Daddy, it's time to wake up and do some more videos.
5 more minutes.
It's time to wake up and do some more videos.
What? Why? What? Oh. Hi. Okay. Let me get up and we're going from 30 to 21 today.
Number 30, Risk Legacy.
Number 30, you're thinking, what? A Risk game? Well, yeah, but this is a little different. In Risk Legacy, the game changes as you go from play session to play session. You start out with a very simple, basic version of Risk. You're actually earning victory points for taking over enemy strongholds or collecting cards that then can be turned in for victory points. And once you have 4 of them, you've won the game. You can also win by knocking everybody else out of the game, but by then you've probably earned 4 victory points as well. Then things get interesting, because based on what happened during the game, who won, who lost, you start putting stickers on the board. You start ripping up cards. You start giving each faction a specific player power. You start making vast changes, permanent changes to this game. And the fact that the rules have been organized, that this is all going to work. The rulebook has specific sections for placing new rules on the board. In fact, it comes with stickers that you put in the rulebook. You have to play this correctly, though. People have been trying to make it so that you can reset the game. No, you have to play this as if every decision is permanently important. And this is a new copy of the game because I am waiting for that guy who is standing off camera to get old enough to play it. Risk Legacy. Really cool game. My number 30.
No. Number 29, Pueblo.
Pueblo. This is a box I was complaining about recently on the podcast. It's just a little bit larger than a Ticket to Ride size box. Anyway, in Pueblo, you are placing these giant L-shaped 3-dimensional pieces onto the board, creating a large structure. And this little dude walks around the outside of the board, and you don't want him to see your pieces. So you have pieces that are your color, you have some neutral pieces, you have to place them evenly, you have to place them flat, so you're trying to hide your pieces from the surveyor as he walks around or looks from above, and it's a terrific puzzly game, but with a good amount of replay value, because you can add these sacred sites into the game, which make it you can't build on those sacred sites, so every time you can play with a slightly different board, a more difficult board, an easier board. Pueblo is a terrific, really fun, chunky game. Check it out.
Number 28, Transamerica.
Transamerica is my go-to gateway game. You are making connections on a map of the United States. You have a certain number of cities, 5 cities at the beginning, 1 of each color, and the colors are sort of distributed in different corners of the map. So you have to build a rail network that connects all 5 of those cities. And you're placing 2 pieces of track on a turn. Very simple. As soon as a player does that, connects all of their cities, then you stop and everyone counts how far away they were from completing their goal, and that's how many points everyone moves on the track. Once one player goes all the way off the edge of the track, whoever is the farthest along, or farthest back, has the most points remaining, wins the game. What I really like about Transamerica is that you're doing the same thing multiple times. So as a gateway game, it's perfect. That first round, people who are new to the game are going, oh, I don't really know what I'm doing here, but then the second round, they're doing the same thing again. It resets. Even though you may have lost a bunch of points, you're resetting, everyone's starting from ground zero once again. And I think that really succeeds as a first-time gateway game. Transamerica is a terrific title. My my number 28.
Number 27. Merchant of Venus. Standard.
What? What? But the theme song, it said the... But... Okay, calm down. This is the new Standard Edition. Quick history, the Merchant of Venus classic game from the 80s, and two companies simultaneously announced that they were going to reprint the game last year. Fantasy Flight Games was planning to update it, and Stronghold Games was going to pretty much reprint the original design. What ended up happening is that Fantasy Flight published the game, although both versions ended up in the box. So this has both the Classic Edition and the Standard Edition. For the purposes of this list, I have to treat them as separate games because they're very much different animals. So the Standard game, the new game, is what takes this slot on my list. Rob Kuba is in charge of the new design, updating the original Richard Hamblin design. There are a lot of things I really like about the new Merchant of Venus. I love the little ships, but that's a component thing. I love the racial technologies that each civilization has on the board, and I like how you can use those technologies to sort of synergize them together and push your strategy in a certain direction. There's more adventure in the new version. A lot more unknown. You don't really know you're going to get from point A to point B, and I can see how that would certainly appeal to a lot of people. This still feels like Merchant of Venus. You're still flying around the galaxy, buying, selling, trading. It still has that unknown adventure, but it sort of branches off in a different direction, and one that I don't think quite matched the elegance of the original, but it's still a really fun game. And the fact that you get both versions in one box, well, yeah, you knew this would be a must-buy for me anyway, but the Standard Edition has a lot to offer, and, well, yeah, it's pretty high up on my list as well. Merchant of Venus, the new Standard Edition.
Number 26. Vegas Showdown.
Number 26 is Vegas Showdown, and apparently a Pokemon rulebook. Vegas Showdown is a neat game about building a casino in Las Vegas, and you do that by acquiring different tiles through a series of auctions. There are tiles about slot machines, there's restaurant tiles, there are show, like theater tiles of varying degrees and sizes, and you're placing these tiles on your casino mat and trying to earn income, get population, get fame, which is ultimately how you get victory. And it has a bidding mechanism very similar to Knizia's Amun-Re, where you have specific values that you can bid, and you can place your little bidding token, and you have to move elsewhere if you want to, outbid somebody. I really enjoy the game. It's one that appeals very well to my family. I think it works well for non-gamers that are still looking for a little bit of depth, but still one that really appeals to folks in the hobby as well. I'm very happy to hear that it's now available again. This was out of print for a while, and so you have no reason not to check it out. Vegas Showdown, my number 26.
Number 25. Perry Roden. The Comisquegda.
We've already discussed my love of pick up and deliver games. We just talked about Merchant of Venus. This is a tiny little game in the Cosmos 2-player line, although it's now available in English from Z-Man Games. This is Perry Rodan, the Cosmic League. It's based on a sci-fi license, but that doesn't necessarily matter. This is a pick up and deliver game, and you are delivering cards around the galaxy from planet to planet. The planets are arranged in a line leading away from the sun, and moving away from the sun takes more movement than it does moving toward the sun, which is a neat little mechanism. You can upgrade your ship, you can steal stuff from other players, and there's this mechanism where the cards, the goods cards, are two-sided. So after you deliver them, some of those cards just flip over and go back on the board to be delivered somewhere else. And once those cards reach a certain level, the game ends, or you can win by getting the most points, reaching sort of a finish line on the score track. terrific little two-player game and has been called Merchant of Venus Light by some. I really enjoy Perry Rodin, The Cosmic.
Number 24. Tales of the Arabian Nights.
Next up is a very heavy game. This is from Z-Man Games as well, Tales of the Arabian Nights. And this is almost more of a role-playing experience than it is a standard board game, because in this one you don't really care who wins. It's more about the story that is being crafted. You're moving around a board, trying to earn a certain number of story points, and it almost doesn't matter what you're trying to gain, because the results of the story are very difficult to predict. But you're trying to earn a certain number of points, running around the board, completing missions, and every time you face a challenge, you will be looking up the results in this giant book that's almost a choose-your-own-adventure style book. You're given a situation, you say, oh, well, the flaming lake, well, I could drink from the flaming lake, I could run away from it, I could taunt the flaming lake, and you choose one of those options, then something is going to happen to you. You can earn skills that help you succeed at certain challenges, but again, there's very little way to predict what you're going to be running into. And it's silly fun, because you might go and try and help a beggar who ends up being evil and throws you overboard from a ship, and you might end up in the village of the mer people and then have to marry the princess of the mermaids and then be forced to travel home to break up with your previous wife. It's all sorts of craziness that happens in this game, and it's a lot of fun. Very cool game. Tales of the Arabian Nights, one that is a system that I'm hoping shows up in lots of other games, and it's starting to. So yeah, well worth
it. Number 23, Legendary.
Let's talk about another co-op game, another newish game on my list, and that is Legendary, the Marvel deck-building game. I'm a sucker for the superheroes. What really gets me in this game, this is a cooperative deck-building game where you're SHIELD agents and you're collecting superhero cards to have them aid you in defeating bad guys. There's a row of bad guys and there's a row of good guys, and you can buy the good guys, defeat the bad guys, and you're ultimately trying to defeat the master villain who has a master plot, a scheme that they're trying to achieve. And each scheme makes the game play a little bit differently. So you may be trying to save a bunch of innocent bystanders, or you may be fighting clones of yourself. And that variety is what really gets this game for me. This is what, it pushes some sort of button in the back of my head. I'm looking forward to playing this with my son as well, because I think he'll really enjoy working together to beat the bad guy. He's not quite there yet, but he will be soon, and that potential is really keeping Legendary very high on my list. Plus, again, I'm a sucker for the superheroes. Legendary!
Number 22. King of Tokyo.
Speaking of playing games with my son, King of Tokyo is next on the list, and he's just so excited about this game that he's right here listening to the whole thing. Alright, quick, what's the best monster in King of Tokyo?
Gigazor.
Gigazor is the best. So you've got a bunch of monsters, and they're trying to attack Tokyo and trying to earn as many points as possible or knock out all of the other monster players. And if you're in Tokyo, you're attacking all the other players, and if you are outside Tokyo, you're attacking whoever's in Tokyo. The expansion adds a bunch of player-specific powers that you can earn. You are buying upgrades to your monsters, and it's just crazy dice-rolling fun. And I talked about, way back, Roll Through the Ages with that Yahtzee-style mechanism. That's in here as well, so that is an easy, very little barrier to entry with this game. I've played this with the family many a time, and they have really enjoyed it. So rolling dice, taking names. That's what it says on my shirt. Anyway, King of Tokyo.
Number 21, Reef Encounter.
Last up on this section is Reef Encounter. This is a Richard Breese design. This is the original edition from R&D Games. Z-Man came out with an edition with different art, a much darker art style, still cool, and it's the same game, so you can go with either one. I just like the choral aspect of this edition of the game. In Reef Encounter, you are trying to eat profitable coral. And it's a pretty complicated game because you are acquiring coral polyps that then can be grown into coral tiles, and you're placing those tiles on the board and trying to protect them. You get these little lobsters that protect the coral from being eaten by other players, and the coral has sort of a hierarchy. Different types of coral can eat other coral. So if you have an unprotected coral that is outranked by another piece of coral, which then gets taken by that player and then can be used to generate more coral polyps and change things on the board. You can lock down those hierarchies to earn points. Ultimately, that's also what will earn you points, because when you eat the coral, you place some of them into your secret scoring tower thing. And at the end of the game, based on that hierarchy of coral, that's how much the coral is going to be worth. So there are a lot of moving pieces in this game to keep track of, and there is an expansion, Reef Encounters of the Second Kind. I found it to be not quite as essential as the main game. You don't really need that. This is all you need. It is a very deep game, deep because it's underwater, and a good one as well. Reef Encounter, my number 21. Alright, thanks for watching. Lots more videos on the way, but I'm gonna take a nap first. Thanks for watching Dice Tower.
Thanks for watching.
Thanks so much for watching one of the Dice Tower's top 100 games list. Tune back next time for 10 more of Eric's games. Until next time, I'm Tom Vassell, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc. Cool stuff in stock.
Top 100.